Welcome, everyone. It's Jen Tarrant, and today I want to talk about cultivating joy and happiness in our life because sometimes that can be a little elusive, right? Like, how do we do that? How do we cultivate joy and happiness in our life? My name is Jen Tarrant, and I am a yoga therapist and holistic lifestyle coach. And thank you so much for joining me here today on a next installment in the Iridescent Dragonflies show. When we think about this joy and happiness idea, there are a lot of factors that play in. So often it's easy for us to look externally for reasons to be happy, for reasons to feel that deep sense of inner joy. And that can be kind of a trap, really, because how often do those things happen? How often is everything in our life lining up just perfectly so that we feel like we can be happy, we feel like we can be joyful as a result of our circumstances? I don't know about you guys, but I don't know that I think that that happens super often, even though I love my life. I think I'm very fortunate and have a lot of wonderful things happening in my life. If I look externally, there's always something, right, that is not quite right or that hasn't happened yet that we're looking forward to, or whatever it is. And so we have these, external longings looking for joy and happiness, and they don't satisfy. It doesn't ever quite line up. There are also some things that can hinder our pathway to joy. We're here on social media right now, and this can be a place where we find entertainment, where we connect with others, where we gain information and all of those sorts of things. But it can also be a place where it's really easy to get caught up in the comparison game. Whenever we see our friends and acquaintances post great vacation pictures or posting beautiful moments from every day of their life, and maybe we don't feel that same way, or we're not seeing those same moments in our life show up, those little moments of beauty. And it can be easy for us to compare ourselves to those friends and think, oh, my life's just not as good as theirs is. How come I don't have these same opportunities and privileges? How come my neighborhood walks aren't as beautiful as their neighborhood walks, or whatever it is that's easy to get caught up in? And so while this can be a beautiful place for us to connect, it can also have sort of that dark side to it, where it's easy to get caught up in comparing and wanting what other people have. Another place that can sneak up on us and kind of steal our ability to be joyful and happy is in judgment. And that really can sort of happen in a lot of different places. We may feel that sense of judgment toward ourselves. Why am I not as good at my job? Why am I not as great at finding great hobbies? We can sort of ask ourselves all these why questions and put ourselves down because of that. But it can also sort of reach outward. We can see other people having their great life, and maybe we don't think they've worked as hard as we have. And so we feel judgmental, like, why do they have all these privileges when I work harder than they do? And you can probably identify with this. As much as we don't want to talk about these kind of things out loud, I would be surprised if we haven't all had thoughts like this at some point during our life, where we either judge ourselves for not feeling like we're better at something, or judging outwardly, how come they get what I don't have? That is kind of kin to another one, envy. Sometimes we call it more of jealousy rather than envy, but whichever word we use, whichever of those concepts we identify more with, it's really easy for us to want what somebody else has, and therefore we don't feel happy. And you can see all of these sort of tie in together, but they're nuanced in different ways. It's so often that I will hear maybe students in yoga class say, oh, I'm going on this great trip. And someone say, oh my gosh, I'm so jealous, or I'm so envious that you get to do that. When if we change our perspective just a little, instead of looking at it from this jealousy or envy lens, what if we turned a little bit and looked at it from another perspective and said, my gosh, that's so exciting. I'm so happy you get to do that. That's going to be awesome. If that person is going somewhere you've been, maybe you could say, oh, I don't know if you've ever been there before. When I went, I really enjoyed this experience, or getting to see that attraction or whatever. And if not, just simply allowing ourselves to imagine the excitement that person has and then exuding that and reflecting that back to them. What a great way to turn that perspective and find that happiness. So when we notice these things popping up, we notice ourselves comparing, we notice ourselves having that judgmental thought, we notice that we're feeling envious or jealous. It really is that simple to choose to look at it a different way. We have probably all experienced this, and if not, we at least know someone who can find the cloud behind every silver lining. Do you know what I mean? Like, the world could be beautiful and sunny and they're upset because it's bright outside. It could be a beautifully cloudy day and they're upset because the sun isn't shining. And so we have those people in our life, and maybe we've been there, finding the cloud behind the silver lining. But when we decide to see the silver linings, when we choose to look at that bright side and we take our perspective from this other direction, maybe we just move ourselves over a little, physically or mentally, we'll move ourselves over a little bit and say, you know what? I'm going to choose to see this a different way. It is my choice to see the beauty in this moment. And if the beauty in this moment is being happy for someone else, then oh my gosh, what a huge step. But we can take that into every aspect of our life, can't we? I mean, standing right here in my home, I can find a lot of things to choose happiness and joy over. If I'm looking for happiness, something that's a little more circumstantial, I can be happy that I have climate controlled air conditioning. I live in Phoenix and it's starting to get a little warm. So I'm very happy that I'm able to enjoy a cooler temperature inside. I can be happy that I have clean water at my disposal. When I look for things that are a little deeper, like joy, then I can take that perspective deeply inward, and I can be joyful for all of the places my journey has taken me so far, in learning such amazing ways to apply yoga and yoga therapy, not only to my life, but to the lives of my friends, my family, my clients. I can be so joyful because of the life that I've created with my family and with my friends, and spending time and sharing our experiences and love together. So, this is my challenge to you today. How can you cultivate more joy or more happiness? If you've been hanging out with me on social media over the last week, I've posed this question a little bit differently. I've asked you how you cultivate your joy and what things in your day bring you happiness. But now I'm asking you to take it a step further. How are you going to cultivate more joy and more happiness in your own life? Maybe today. Maybe it's over the course of this next week. But how can you do it? Is it simply awareness, noticing those little things, the beauty in nature around you, the conveniences and things that you have in your life that make your life a little easier? Or is it that deeper joy? How will you cultivate that? How will you soothe and nurture your soul so that you feel that deep sense of joy inside? How will you take care of yourself in that way? Is it that time to yourself? Is it your yoga practice? Is it planting in the garden? Is it connecting with friends and family? What is your plan? How do you plan to cultivate more joy in your life today and in this next week or so? Please let me know in the comments below. I'm really interested to hear from you guys and see what about this idea of cultivating, intentionally choosing joy and happiness, and how you plan to continue to do that. All right, that is it from me for today. I hope you all have a fabulous day, a fabulous weekend, and that you choose joy. Until next time, bye for now.